My hair's a little messy, but they say to dress to impress, and so I am dressed to impress Evelyn. We as a Legends of Runeterra community might not agree on many things. What's broken, what's not broken, what's meta, what's game breaking. But we can all at least agree on one thing. Evelyn is fucking hot. And so, we're here to look good for her today. She's going to grant enemies vulnerable, and when she kills stuff, you get husks, and she has quick attack. I like that take. I like that idea. Let's see how correct you are. Evelyn takes pleasure in their pain.
Always ready to play.
Okay. Evelyn, Origin, Agony's Embrace. She is a 0/5. When you or an ally kill an allied husk, give me its positive keywords this round, and I level up. What? And her Runeterra effect is you may put any cards that summon husks into your deck during deck building. Good news, people! We're gonna have husks outside of Evelyn! Hooray! So these might see experimentation in play outside of just Evelyn decks. That's fun, at least. Okay, so her level up is gonna have to be something that gives her power, because otherwise she gets nothing out of getting keywords from husks, right? I was as wrong as I could have been. Hey, I was right there alongside you. I did not expect this. Okay, so he plays the Bark Beast. It kills this guy. Gets +5/+4. Oh, wait, that husk was a 1/1. So Evelyn's followers might be centered around trying to give husks more stats. Like, summon a husk and grant it +2/+1 or something. So that when you drop Evelyn, she gets the stats from that as well. That's my current thought, at least.
Bang.
Okay, Evelyn is played. Kills the fearsome husk. It doesn't seem like they've played anything else since. But you know the editing, so you can't be sure. This might be a unit that's just an engine constantly pumping out husks, you know? I'm gonna shut up and let this video actually play for a little bit.
Playtime. Mind if I slip into something a little more painful?
Okay. Evelyn, level 2. Becomes a 5/5, so just gets the +5 buff to her attack. When you or an ally killed an allied husk, give me its positive keywords this round. So she can double the effect of husks in her level 2. That's good to know. Round end, summon a random husk. If fewer than 6 allies have died this game, transform me back into Evelyn. Oh. Interesting. Her level down is conditional. That's fascinating. Okay. So she's a late game bomb. But she can pop off early too. That's cool. No keywords. Well, she's gonna get a bunch of keywords from just killing husks. So she doesn't really need the keywords, right?
Don't worry, it's not my first time.
These voice lines, man.
It's always over so soon. Back on the prowl. That's my...
3 mana 3/2 Vora. When I'm summoned, summon a random husk. Okay. Pretty simple there.
Aurora.
Okay, so the play around they're going for is you summon husks, you summon units that kill the husks, Evelyn levels up and attacks with the keywords that the husks have. Her whole thing is just duplicating the keywords you get from husks. I can see a couple more down here. This looks like her ultimate, and this is probably Hate Spikes, which is her Q. We'll see what these do, I guess.
See what's beneath while I see.
right as I start talking about it. This seems to be kill an ally to deal 2 to a unit. Literally as soon as I talked about it.
What's inside? Ever been flayed? That was hot.
Hey, yo.
Dance for me. I love it when they scream. Ooh,
I missed
another
that.
plate?
I'm just gonna look at most of the cards at the end of this, okay? I'll look at the cards at the end of this. I've been taking a lot of time previously in my videos, just talking about the cards in the middle of it. I'm just gonna skip to the end and start talking about them on Mobalytics.
Evelyn.
And then as soon as I say that, I want to talk about this card. 5 mana 4/4 Solitude. When I'm summoned, summon a random husk. When you summon a 1-cost ally, granted a random keyword. Ooh. Alright. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun for this deck.
I've missed you. Hush now, love. You'll startle the food. We're playing by my rules.
That animation took forever.
They always come crawling back.
Okay, well, it wants me to look at this. This is her Runeterra spell. Last Caress. Stop all enemy spells and skills targeting Evelyn, and she strikes an enemy. Huh. That's not a bad champion spell. I mean, it's a fizz effect at 5 mana, but it's a strike as well. She strikes an enemy with this, and it's fast speed, too. This is pretty good. I think this is alright. But this should create your Evelyn, too. My guess is they didn't say that for clarity.
Here comes the mood killer.
How about you?
I'm just gonna look at these later. I'm tempted, but I'm just gonna look at these later.
Let's do this again sometime.
Okay, we got all the cards here. We'll look at these on Mobalytics. Cool. Okay, Evelyn. 4 mana, 0/5. Origin, Agony's Embrace. When I'm summoned, summon a random husk. Simple enough. When you or an ally kill an allied husk, give me its positive keywords, and I level up this round. Agony's Embrace. There's no additional effect on this. No chimes being planted every round. No skills being activated every 4 skills. Agony's Embrace is just you can put any cards that summon husks into your deck while deck building. And that's just every single one of these guys here, basically. Not Hate Spikes. Actually, Hate Spikes. Cool. Good to know. Pretty much no matter what in an Evelyn deck, when you put down Evelyn, you're probably going to be leveling her up that turn. And a 4 mana 5/5 with a random keyword is pretty strong. There's not a lot of keywords that Evelyn can get that she wouldn't mind having. Especially because she keeps the keywords afterwards, too. And just starts stacking them up over time. I think it's pretty obvious now to see why a lot of people, why Evelyn and Kaisa are the intended pairing, I should say. So the thing about Evelyn is she's a 0/5, so any defensive turns you have, she can't really do shit. You might be lucky enough to get regen on her, or she'll have like +1 or +2 to a stat line just because another ally summoned a husk with a little bit of oomph to it. Yeah, I don't know. She's not going to be good on defensive turns. And she's going to be filling her board with husks, so Evelyn probably loses out to aggro decks. She's probably not going to have enough blockers to be able to deal with that level of aggro. Yeah, her level 1 is okay. There's not a whole lot to talk about. She's a vanilla 0/5 stat line that creates a husk. And then when you kill a husk, she becomes a monster, for lack of a better word. Where she's a 5/5, gonna have a random keyword. Whenever another husk dies, she gets its stats and keywords. 4 mana 5/5, you're pretty much always going to get Evelyn leveled up on turn 4, which makes her feel really good, right? I was talking already about whether or not you'd want to interact with the husks in any way. If if you can stop Evelyn from leveling up by using your husks properly, yeah, you're gonna want to interact with the husks to stop Levelyn from Levelyn. Okay, well that was accidental, but I'm now referring to level 2 Evelyn as Levelyn. You're gonna want to stop your opponent from being able to drop Levelyn. So, you want to interact with a husk or something so that Levelyn can't be dropped. And if there's no husks on board, then Evelyn comes down and she's just a bad 0-5. Please stop? Never. I came up with something and I like it. I'm sticking with it. This is Levelyn. Levelyn is a very good card. And I do like the fact that her level 2... Or, sorry, Levelyn, as I've been referring to it. What's Levelyn? Levelyn is leveled Evelyn. It's just that simple. I do like the fact that her level up can actually become permanent or go back down, right? Because round end, summon a husk. If fewer than 6+ allies have died this game, or if fewer than 6 allies, why would I say 6+? I know why I said 6+, because I'm so used to 6+ cost spells. Summon a random husk. If fewer than 6 allies have died this game, transform me back into Evelyn. Evelyn's probably going to only de-level once, I think. And then she'll probably level up again and stay level 2 for the rest of the game. I think I've kind of said my piece about Evelyn at this point, and Levelyn. She's going to be good, I think. She looks pretty good. It's just going to be a question of, once things come into practice, how brutal is it going to be to interact with husks? And how much is that going to affect people's game plan? And the other final question is, how good is aggro going to be against her? And my guess is aggro is probably her best counterplay. Last Caress. 4 mana fast. This is her Runeterra champion spell. You can't get this any other way except for double drawing Evelyn. Stop all enemy spells and skills targeting Evelyn, and she strikes an enemy. And that creates an Evelyn in your deck. Was this 5 mana in the trailer? They did show it as 5 mana. They did show it as 5 mana. I was right! Okay. So they realized it was bad and brought it down in terms of cost. Or actually, you can see it in hand over here. It's 4 cost in hand down here, too. So they made the PNG to show it off in the video and then didn't update it when they updated the cost. So that was a late game change, I guess. If they had the info ready to be a 5 cost and they changed it to 4. The one merit it has is, if this strike can go off regardless of whether or not you're stopping enemy skills or spells targeting Evelyn, then this card will be a little bit better. The primary thing I'm seeing here with Evelyn, though, is the targeting. It requires it to be targeting. So aura effects can't be stopped with this. Let me double check Fizz level 2, actually. Theoretically, if it's an aura effect that isn't specifically targeting Evelyn, she shouldn't be able to stop it. That said, I feel like I remember Fizz used to be able to cancel Ruination. I don't know if he still can, though. But Last Caress is pretty nice for Evelyn. It gives her some added safety. I do also like that they made it specifically that it plays around having your Evelyn in play, because you can only get this if you already have your Evelyn in play. So it's nice that they made Evelyn's champion spell about keeping the Evelyn alive, because you can't main deck this. I'm not quite sure how AoE still works with this, but depending on how that works, this will either be a good spell or an iffy spell. Alright, we're starting off simple with the 2 mana 1/3. Solitude. When I'm summoned, summon a random husk. Simple, effective, to the point. 2 mana 1/3 is already a pretty decent known stat line. We know that from Coral Creatures, which has a tune, too. And it also generates you a spell, but this is generating you a husk in lieu of that. The random husk, obviously, I feel like that's going to be effect on a lot of these cards. I don't think you're ever going to get a specific husk you get to choose. So we're just going to kind of have to wait and see what comes of that. Vora is a 3 mana 3/2. When I'm summoned, summon a random husk. As I was saying about not having anything you can do. Interesting aspect about this, though, is this is a very aggressive stat line, 3/2. It's a little understated. but you're probably going to have a Husk down at this point for Vora to be able to take advantage of. Whereas this is a very defensive stat line. So Solter is your primary blocker. Vora is probably your primary aggressor. Vora seems like she's going to be a pretty good card for Evelynn decks. It's also worth noting these are both Shadow Isles. So you might be able to run Shadow Isles Husks without the need for Evelynn. And Shadow Isles already likes the game plan of Husks. So you might just end up running a couple of Husk cards, because why not, right? Next up is Steam. 6 mana, 6/5 Scout. When I'm summoned, summon a random Husk. Speaking of aggressive, again, slightly understated. He's a 6/5, not a 6/6. Because you gotta add in that little +1 health to have at least one Husk down. And keep in mind, he's gonna be getting a lot of keywords, too. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that all three of these have the exact same card text. That feels a little boring. It feels like you could have done more with Husks. Like, I don't know, maybe when you play, one of these manifests a Husk, and you can pick which one you have, and then it's summoned. Just the fact that they all share the same card text, it seems a little basic to me. It seems like they could have done more with it, and they chose to play on the safe side. That said, for Steam himself, he's a very good aggressive unit. He's gonna hit like a Tonka truck, and do it twice. Especially when you're gonna get doubled keywords on him. Steam is probably your finisher for Husk decks. If you're not already playing Kaisa, who's meant to pretty much be your finisher. Not all cards need to be complex, sometimes basic, it's alright. I'm not complaining about a card being basic. I'm more so complaining that they just printed the same text 3 times. Except for whatever reason, Vora here has an extra space. That's the one difference between their card text. Vora got a space. Okay, Solitude. 5 mana 4/4. When I'm summoned, summon a random Husk. When you summon a 1-cost ally, granted a random keyword. We saw this in the trailer, and I think this card might be kinda good. For starters, we got 1-cost support, baby. Let's go. They keep printing 1-cost support. Someday this deck will be viable, but not today. Not with this card. This card is not going to make it that. Although, actually, I say that, and yet I'm going to eat my own words here, because Fabled Poro, the Orn Poro, Porn, as I should put it, that made Poro decks really good. So this could actually make 1-cost decks pretty alright. 5-cost is too much, IMO. It is a bit of a high cost to run in 1-cost decks. I like how I haven't even talked about this in the context of Evelyn decks yet, but 5-cost is definitely a little high. My thought is they probably wanted to make this a turn 4 engine, but then they printed Evelyn on turn 4, so they were like, okay, we gotta bump this up one. But now that it's at 5, it's gonna be competing with Kaisa. So, you know, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Domination. 3 mana 2/1. When I'm summoned, summon a random Husk. When you summon a 1-cost ally, grant it +1/+0. More 1-cost support, boys! This deck will surely be good now. It's a very weak unit, very understated. You're going to have to get some Husks down before you play Dominion, so that you can keep it alive. But you need her to give your Husks the power stat buff, because once you get the power stat buff on Husks, that goes to whoever you're giving that Husk to. And so that's going to make it so that your Husks are providing more actual value. The problem is just going to be keeping Domination alive, because this is a very frail unit. You can't attack with this. Any sort of ping is going to take this out. And if Domination goes down, Evelyn is going to be hurting, right? Azir Aurelia decks could actually make use out of this in a funny little way. Because Sand Soldiers, Blades, and Sparring Student are all 1-costs. And you can put the Husk onto, like, your Azir or your Aurelia or something. So, Hate Spike. Kill an ally to deal 2 to a unit and summon a random Husk. This is Shadow Isles too. This is the 3rd Shadow Isles card that has Husk. Husk in Shadow Isles without Evelyn seems like a possibility. Husks are a good way to level up Callista. That's true. Husk's Callista actually sounds really good. Okay, you have my attention. Husk's Callista. Sounds like a pretty good way to play her. I think this is okay. I don't think you're going to play this normally in Shadow Isles, but I think if you're playing a deck that is relying on Husks in Shadow Isles already, you'll throw in Hate Spikes, because the extra Husk generation is going to be pretty good to have. The final card of the day seems to randomly come from Demacia. Allure. 2 mana focus, summon a random Husk, and grant it +1/+0. I have absolutely no idea why this is in Demacia. I guess it's just to give the potential to put Husks in Demacia, so people can experiment with it if they want, but this feels very strange for Demacia. The one thing, though, that I will talk about, I complained about how Husks had no... I complained about how all these Husks had the same effects on them. The fact that none of these cards actually had, like, a round start, summon a Husk, or create a Husk in hand effect, or anything, it does make me a little bit more upset about that. Right? Solter could so easily be a backline engine that's just round start, summon a random Husk if you don't have one already. And that's a cool effect, that's a unique effect that gives you something to play around. If you don't have a Husk, he's going to make sure you have a Husk at round start. And so you can just play your unit, and you're always going to have a Husk that Solter can generate you. That's a cool unit. Alright, here's the patch notes. New expansions, new cards, new mechanics and keywords. Yeah. New challenges, Path of Champions, new regions. Return of Labs! Wait, so there's no... There are no patch notes, no changes. Bard is surviving into the new meta. Uh-oh. However, Return of Labs! I'm excited for this! I used to love Labs. Look forward to more wacky experiments in the future, but for now, enjoy the return of our 3 favorite Labs. Ultra Rapid Fire Draw, Welcome to the Jungle, and United Frontline, the PvE. This was cool. I really liked Labs. I'm glad they're bringing them back. They pretty much sidelined Labs so they could do Path of Champions, so bringing back Labs in any capacity, hell yeah. I'm happy to see Labs back. Labs is very fun. Star Guardian Quinn, this is the Event Pass exclusive. You gotta complete the Event Pass to get this skin. It's fine for what it is. I will say, I love the consistency of keeping Quinn in the background of her level 2 art. Like, why should we make the champion we're focusing on actually important in our card art? This is the champion. I love the art style of this card back. Oh my god. That's a really nice art style. And they have it for Jinx. Okay, fellas. We're going for this. We're going for this card back. I love this art style. They have it for Jinx. Money. Take my money. This is a pretty weak emote. Not a lot here. Not a lot of value behind it. The Talia one's pretty alright. I like this. This is a good emote. This is a great emote. The Senna one's fun. This is a fun one. And then Jinx has kept being hyped up. Yeah, no, this is good. This is a good emote with Jinx. The little... Bleh. This is good. I like a lot of this patch. This patch is looking pretty good. I'm a fan of it. The cosmetics looks pretty nice. I've already said my piece about all of the champions. I'm excited for a lot of the non-champions, really. Man, this reveal season has been really fun to do. Hopefully next time one comes around, I'll be on a stronger computer so the videos will play properly and I won't have to spend extra time editing them in Premiere. But this has been a great patch, guys. Great reveal season. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for this reveal season. I appreciate it. You at YouTube, too. Thank you for joining me with this.